Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are, wherever you're watching or listening. My name is Adrienne Warren, and I am the host of the Kindaris Pictures podcast. This is season 1, episode 9. So let's just jump right into it. So let me tell you guys a little bit about this podcast. If you don't know by now, if this is your first time listening, watching, or whatever. So every other week, I talk about classic Hollywood history, but from an African American perspective, from the perspective or through the stories of African American entertainers of the time. So on this podcast, we talk about the Paul Robesons, the Lena Hornes, the Teresa Harrises, the Eddie Rochester Andersons. We don't talk about the Roosevelt Hotel. We talk about the Dunbar Hotel. We don't talk about, Sunset Boulevard. We talk about Central Avenue, things like that. And in this episode, what I want to do is make it absolutely clear that none of this podcast, my film company, my knowledge and understanding of Black entertainment history, classic Black entertainment, it would be nothing and it would not be shaped into anything if it weren't for one man. And that man is Mr. Donald Bogle. So for decades, retrospective works about American entertainment, classic American entertainment, the history of it, it's pretty much centered white entertainers, the creators, the directors, the establishments that things took place or in which events took place. That's really, if you watch any documentary on television or on Turner Classic Movies, whatever the case may be, any book, it's usually pretty white centered. And often people of color are usually, if they're even mentioned at all, which does happen, but they're usually mentioned in like this particular section, or they get a certain section in a book or in a documentary. And, there are even whole television networks, channels that will probably wouldn't show anything with African Americans or any other group, any non-white group outside of the month in which they're celebrated. For instance, you'll see most African American movies or movies with predominantly Black casts on, the famous Turner Classic Movies. Shout out to Jacqueline Smith or Dr. Jacqueline Smith. You usually won't see them on Turner Classic Movies until it's Black History Month or throughout the year. If they do show the movies outside of that, they're coming on at like 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. In my history, I don't have cable. I haven't had cable in a long time or access to it. But even now, when I check out the schedule, I'll see, movies like Cabin in the Sky and all that stuff coming on at like 4 a.m. But we're not going to get into that in this episode. So that's usually been the case, especially with books. And since the 1970s, Donald Bogle has, I won't say he's been the only historian, and the only author to discuss African Americans' contributions and their place in American entertainment history. But to me, he's like the supreme, the supreme American Horror Story reference. He's like the person. He's more so like the griot to me of Black Hollywood history. He's been the one, or one of many, but most notably the person who's gone above and beyond to make Black entertainers in history more than just a footnote, in the history books, in the documentaries and all of that. Even though it still happens, he is the one that has written the books, talked to the people, gone out and talked to Vivian Dandridge before she passed away, Dorothy Dandridge's sister, Isabel Washington, Freddie Washington. He's been the person that has gone out and talked to these people before they passed away. And I think we really need to make that known and talk about that more, because he really is a trailblazer. So let me give you a little background, a little history on my dealings with Donald Bogle. Well, not dealings. That makes it sound like I've talked to him or something like that. Let me just talk about my personal story. So my mom, she got introducing Dorothy Dandridge, the HBO movie with Halle Berry, of course. She got it from Columbia House. So, you can imagine how long ago this was. So I think she got it about a year or two after the movie came on HBO. So the movie came out or premiered in 1999. So I think she probably got the tapes, the VHS tape, 2000, 2001 maybe. And usually what happened when we would watch biopics, documentaries, my mom, she will hop on the computer, hop on AOL to research the real person. Like we do now. We'll be watching a movie about somebody and then we'll go to Wikipedia, read more information and things like that. So my mom was definitely that person back in the day. And I usually was with her, me and my sister. So when she was looking up Dorothy Dandridge, the website is still up, I believe, but the website was titled Life Unfulfilled. It was up for a very long time. That was the first. Whenever I talk about Dorothy Dandridge, I always shout that website out because it was out for like it's probably been up on the internet for probably about a good 20 plus years. Um so the moment like I started reading through the website and looking at pictures of the real Dorothy Dandridge, and right away I had to been like 8 or 9 years old. Right away I just knew that this woman is going to have some type of impact on me. Well, when I was a kid, I wasn't like, oh my God, this woman is going to have an impact on my life. It was more like, I really like this woman. She is very beautiful. I'm really drawn to her story. That's how it was. But basically this, everything that I do now, it stems from that love and admiration for her. So anyway, around this time, I researched as much as I could, hopped on the internet, was constantly looking up her filmography, checking TCM's website, or checking their website, checking their schedule to see if any Dorothy Dandridge movie was going to come on. And I do remember catching the very end of Carmen Jones, which made me mad, and A Day at the Races. But anyway, I was kind of in the research phase. I'm finding out about Dorothy Dandridge, and then I'm learning about other actors in Hollywood, the Marilyn Monroes and the Ava Gardners, during this time. So one day, my grandma, she took me and my sister to the library. So, you have the adult library cards and you have the kid library cards. And I went and looked for Dorothy Dandridge anything. Any book about Dorothy Dandridge. I think I probably did searching on the computer and saw that there was a book available. Found it, got it with my grandma's library card. So the book is Dorothy Dandridge, a biography. So it was published in 1997 by Mr. Donald Bogle. And so this was almost 3 decades after her death. Matter of fact, she passed away September 8th, 1965. So that was actually not celebrated, but she was memorialized this week by a lot of her fans and a lot of African American Black entertainment fans. So about 3 decades after her death, was she kind of erased from the public memory as a whole, but I'm not going to get too deep into it. This is for another episode, but as much as people probably won't want to admit it, she was often erased a lot from Black media as well after her death, especially when we started finding out things about her life. It almost seemed as if she didn't exist. Nobody like Dorothy. Her name kind of got erased and forgotten for quite a bit until this book came out. So, I'm going to be honest, when I first got the book, like I said, I was like 8 or 9. I didn't read that whole thing the first time I got it. I looked at the pictures. I think I started and was just like, okay, these are a lot of words and a lot of words I don't understand. So I'm going to just look at the pictures, which I did. And of course, I've read it since I've gotten older. But just as much as Dorothy Dandridge's name has been somewhat embedded in my spirit, the name Donald Bogle, in reading that book, that also became a thing for me. So I was always looking out for his name whenever I was watching documentaries, and I still do. Documentaries about Hollywood and everything, books, I'm always looking for that name, or it always stands out to me when I see it. So before we continue, we're going to talk a little bit more about Mr. Bogle himself, but we're going to take a quick commercial break. Hey there, everybody. This is Adrienne of the Kindaris Pictures podcast. Are you interested in supporting Kindaris Pictures and letting everybody know that you support Kindaris Pictures? You can do so by buying a mug, some buttons, or a mason jar glassware from the official Kindaris Pictures shop. Prices range from $9.99 to $17.99, so if you're interested, go ahead and grab something. The link is in the description box. Love you. Okay, and we are back from the commercial break. Thank you guys again for tuning in. So let's talk about Donald Bogle a little bit more. First of all, I hope I am saying this man's last name right, because I've been calling him Donald Bogle for the past almost 20 years now. It could very well be Bogle, but I think it's definitely Bogle. But anyway, Donald Bogle has written 6 books about African Americans, particularly their contributions to film, television. So the first book was published in 1973, short title, Toms, Coons, Mulattoes, Mammies, and Bucks. So this is a book that explored 5 stereotypes of African Americans in film. So, imagine this is back in 1973. This is when, as a people, African Americans, Black Americans, people in the diaspora, we're starting to really be vocal, always have been vocal about race relations, especially when it comes to ourselves. But this is when, this is Black Panther time, post-civil rights era, post-assassination of everybody, that type of time. So this was a contribution to that era of literature and that era of publication, especially for African Americans. So his most recent book, like I said, he's published 6 books. His most recent was titled Heat Wave, The Life and Career of Ethel Waters, obviously a biography for Ethel Waters of Ethel Waters. And if you are frequent listeners of the show, I referenced his 2005 book. So I think this was his 4th book, 5th book, I believe. So this book was written in 2005, Bright Boulevards and Bold Dreams. I reference this book all the time. And that's why I say I am absolutely indebted to this man, because probably 80%, 75%, I'll say 80% of what I know, the names that I know, come from him. So, like, I got my copy, a copy that I bought a few years ago of the biography, Dorothy Danger's autobiography, and I'm like absolutely certain that Nina Mae McKinney, the first time I read her name was probably in this book. And like I said, that was when I was like 8, 9 years old. I think I read the book again when I was like 14. I can't remember, but like I keep saying, like, much of what I know about Black Hollywood history comes from this man. So please check out his books. He pops up in documentaries from time to time, like I said, from Turner Classic Movies or on Turner Classic Movies. Probably any documentary about film or television, especially Black film, Black television. I know for certain he is in Movies and Moguls and Movie Stars, that Turner Classic Movies documentary. That's like a 6-part series that I have a copy of, and I love. I watch it like it's The Lion King or something like that. And Small Steps, Big Strides. That's another documentary. I actually borrowed that from the library. I don't know how available it is to the public, like the general public, but I definitely borrowed it from the library when I was in high school. And he also had has a book called Brown Sugar, celebrating 80 years, celebrating 80 years of, Black women in the entertainment industry. So I think it came out in about the early 80s, and it starts from about the 1900s, I believe, on down. And what was I saying? Oh, there's a documentary. There was a 4-part PBS series based on that book, and he wrote it, produced it, and directed that particular series. And I know somebody posted it on YouTube. I kind of don't want to put them out there, because once YouTube finds out about certain things, they snatch stuff down real quick. But if you happen to search around, look around, you just might find the series. Somebody taped it, so it's a little grainy, but it's definitely worth the watch. So, I mean, the man's, he's everywhere. A face. He's one of those people that you either know his name but can't remember his face, or you know his face but you can't remember his name, because he has contributed so much. But he seems like the person that's kind of like, how can I say it? Like, kind of reserved, very drawn back. if I call him a legend, I got a feeling, like I said, I don't know this man, but I have a feeling if I call him a legend, he's probably going to be like, yeah, don't call me that, But like, he seems like a very humble person. But anyway, so he currently teaches at University of Pennsylvania at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts. And I am so sorry. I almost made it to the end. I hope you can't hear it, but that's my dog barking in the background. As usual, she kills me. So let's let her do her thing. Bruh, I'm almost at the end. I almost said bruh too. I'm sorry. Okay, so yeah, so last I've read about him in the sources about Donald Bogle. He currently teaches at the University of Pennsylvania. He's a Temple University graduate. Also teaches at NYU, famous Tisch School of Arts. And like I said, I'm calling him a legend. I don't know how he would feel about that. You got some people that just kind of stray away from titles like that, but he is a legend in the world of publication, in the world in Black history, and just he's an unsung legend, I believe. And I owe him a lot. A lot of others owe him a lot. So please, I encourage you all to check out his books if you haven't done so. His books are just like treasures. I would like to see him publish one more, like a few more, but I know it takes a long time. But yeah, check out his books. Find those documentaries. Small Steps, Big Strides is one. Movies and Moguls by Turner Classic Movies. I've seen him in another one, I think. Brown Sugar, of course, but I think I've seen him in like a fourth one. I can't remember, but check him out, please. And with that, I am signing off. That is the episode, and I wish y'all a wonderful rest of your day, night, whatever time you're watching this. And don't forget the next episode, which we'll post on. Let me check my calendar. It will be posted on Anchor. September 20. Nope. September 29th. Yes. That will be the last episode. That is the finale for season 1. So make sure you check out previous episodes. Make sure you tune in for the live recording of that episode. You can learn more about the podcast and Kindaris Pictures in general by visiting kindarispictures.com or following on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. The Twitter name is Kindaris1117. And until then, or until next time, y'all enjoy your day. You have a good week and all that. Sending all types of love and thank yous as well. Shout out to my best friend. I'm gonna say it out loud. She bought some merch, some Kindaris Pictures merchandise, so you can go to the website to learn more about that too. So again, thank y'all for tuning in. I am signing off.